Welcome back to the deepest YouTube iceberg. Now we descend down below the tip of the iceberg and the surface of the water into the middle section of the iceberg itself. But don't think that means we're anywhere done. The iceberg actually takes up a very small portion of this iceberg chart, strangely enough. Here we descend down into Tier 3, the Historian tier. These users are either veterans, people with an interest in YouTube history, or people who like to explore the site as a whole, and in the process may stumble into various oddities from time to time, some of which include the most popular videos on the platform. Also, before I start this tier, I do want to say that, one, I'm not going to be saying NS before every Not Safe for Work and Not Safe for Life tier or entry because I've been forgetting to do it on some of the other ones, and if I'm going to not do it on all of them, what's the point? I'll still put the NS in the description so you can look if you really care, but I have a feeling most people who are watching this iceberg, if you just take a glance at the iceberg, it will, you can see that there's a lot of NS entries, so I have a feeling that most people who are watching this probably don't care. The other thing I'd like to say is that I'm going to be changing my channel name if I haven't already changed it by this because I looked it up on YouTube and some creepy shit came out. So, yeah, I looked up from one of my alternate accounts and some creepy shit came up. So I'm going to be changing my channel name, so don't be surprised if that happens, or it has already happened, depending on what I do. But, alright. Now we can finally start with Tier 3. LOL versus 6 exclamation marks. This refers to the first comment ever uploaded onto YouTube, which was made underneath the video Good Times by the channel Pants. The video itself is nothing too special, it's just a video of like this stop motion live action is how I could call it, where like they took multiple pictures of themselves and then played them one after the other to make it look like they're moving. But in the comment section, the YouTuber the YouTube channel Marco Cassi commented LOL in all caps followed by 6 exclamation marks in a row. And this was the first comment ever uploaded to YouTube. It has over 129,000 likes and 500 replies. Charlie bit my finger. This is a simple 50-second video of a toddler and a baby, and with the baby being named Charlie, and the toddler sticks his fingers in the baby's mouth, the baby bites him, and the kid is like, "Ow, Charlie, ow, it hurts." And then the baby giggles, and then the video ends. And despite its simplicity, both because of how funny and how cute it was, and the fact that there wasn't really much competition at the time, it became one of YouTube's early viral videos. Now you may ask, if it's one of YouTube's early viral videos, how many views does it have? Well, I can't tell you. I know the re-upload of it has 5,000 views, but guess what? The original was unlisted. And you know why it was unlisted? Because we are living in the darkest timeline, and someone sold this as an NFT. Fuck. 009 Sound System / Audio Swap Music. Audio swap is a feature which YouTube has implemented on the creator portion of their platform, and it allows you. It basically provides a library of royalty-free songs that you can put in your videos as like background music or whatever without getting copyright claimed. And one of the most well-known artists who produces music in the audio swap system is 009 Sound System. And they're perhaps most famous for the song Dreamscape. And if you don't know what Dreamscape is, then allow me to play it. Boxxy. Boxxy is the username of a user on the Gaia Online's forum. Gaia Online is like an anime role-playing forum site thing, and she met 2 people on this forum who she sent video messages to via YouTube. And these messages, despite only being intended for them, later ended up falling into the hands of 4chan. And due to how like overly expressive her mannerisms are, as well as like her weird, her like vaguely emo-esque appearance, and that just combined with her personality, 4chan kind of split into 2 sides. One side that became basically the initial simps, like the first actual instance of like a simp army, and the other half absolutely hated her. And both have started searching for like as much information as they could about her, to the point where the anti-Boxxy side even ended up hacking into her YouTube channel at some point. Eventually in 2010, she took notice and she started uploading videos again. And from here, she became like an actual YouTuber and remained one until 2017, when she stopped making content because she was getting just too much hate and wasn't making enough money and just didn't want to do YouTube anymore. Bed Intruder Song. This one's another early viral video, and it's based off of another very popular meme from like the late 2000s, early 2010s. And what this originates from is an interview with this man named Antonine Dodson. And basically what happened was someone broke into his house by climbing up a garbage can and then breaking them through the window, and tried to R-word his sister, and so he beat the shit out of them and they ran away. Then the news came to report on him. And what's funny about the news report is you'd expect someone who just witnessed something like that to be like really scared or something, but instead he just seems like really annoyed. Like he's like angry like you'd expect, but he's this weird like sassy angry combination is how I could best describe it. And in it he says, "Hide your kids, hide your wife," and this became a meme, and as such, the YouTube channel Shkomo Yoho made, also known as the Gregory Brothers, made a remix of it, a musical remix of it, and this went viral. And now ever since then, they've become a popular YouTuber that have continued to make song remixes of things to this day. In fact, one of their more recent, well-known songs is the Chrissy Wake Up remix of Stranger Things that's been trending on TikTok. KONY 2012. This is a video uploaded by the YouTube channel and activist organization Invisible Children. Its goal was to raise awareness about the Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony and the horrible atrocities he had committed against everyone, but especially children. And what the plan was people would be able to buy these kits that would contain merchandise that said things about Kony, and then by the end of 2012, they would, basically just put them up in a bunch of places and put up the posters and pins and vandalize his name onto things and stuff like that, and basically make the name Kony as known as possible. And the video ended up being extremely successful, gaining like hundreds of millions of views. It was one of like the most popular videos on YouTube at the time it was uploaded. And though it was successful, it did have problems with some mild factual inaccuracies throughout it, which caused a bunch of people to also critique him and say that they weren't actually doing anything, and call them like slacktivists. And this had a severe mental toll on the man who had organized it, as it led to him like having a mental breakdown, and he was like started running around in the streets naked. But despite this, the campaign was an overall success. And I have to mention this, so after news about Kony started like getting out and open, I forgot what it's called, but it's like the Department of International Crimes. Basically, it's the people that are responsible for hunting down people like Kony. They started thinking of ways to hunt him down, which were leaked in 2017. And of these ways, some of them included having Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt invite him to a dinner where he would then be captured. Or having George Clooney partner with a satellite company to spy on them using satellites. But regardless, though Kony was never captured, his army was significantly destroyed and splintered out to the point where he only has like a couple hundred troops now and is no longer considered a threat. He did unfortunately get away with his crimes, but he's basically living and hiding in the jungle somewhere. It's over 9,000. This is a clip from Dragon Ball Z that became one of the early viral videos of YouTube, as well just like one of the earliest like real like memes that like everyone knew about. The clip is short enough that I'll just play it right now.
The Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000! What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right!
Japanese text that I don't understand. Bad Apple PV Japanese text that I don't understand. So for context, there's a song from the game Taohao 4, which is called Bad Apple, which is like the most popular track from the game. And then because the creator of the game is like really lenient with like how people are allowed to use the content from the game and is very pro like fair use of it, a music group called Alstromia Records created a remix of it, which became arguably even more popular than the original song. And then there was this person that like came up with this idea of like an animation about like the characters from the game passing like an apple around, and it would be like done in like half black, half white, and just basically done using shadows and silhouettes. And then someone animated that and put the music video over it, and it became really popular. There's probably a lot of like meaning behind the music video, but I don't understand anything about the game, so I don't know. All I do know is that it does the black and white does kind of reflect like the main theme of the game being about like yin and yang, and then that combined with the lyrics of the song. And then the video ends the same way it began, but like in reverse, and then the characters turn into yin yang. The music video has become extremely popular, being well known far outside of the Taohao fandom, and it's even gotten several like parodies made off of it, which are all extremely popular in their own right. Like just the Undertale parody has like 3 million views. Happy Tree Friends. Happy Tree Friends is a series created by Mondo Media, and it was originally on Newgrounds and later moved to TV, but most of the episodes have since been uploaded to YouTube. Each episode follows the formula where you have all these cute animal characters, and they're like anthropomorphic animals, and they do things that you'd expect cute characters from a kid show to do. But then about halfway through the episode, something goes terribly wrong, and they end up being all unalived in some horrific manner, and it just kind of turns into a gore fest. There really isn't any deeper meaning to the Happy Tree Friends or its series, unlike with a lot of these disturbing kids channel things on YouTube. Disturbing kids show channels on YouTube, like Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. There isn't any deeper meaning to it. It's just haha, cute characters are all being unalived in a brutal, horrific way. Neutral response. This is a video uploaded by the user LeeTag, which is simply a 4-second clip from Futurama in which one of the characters says, "I have no strong feelings about this one way or the other." And the video itself is not much interesting, but rather the fact that people in the comments section came up with this idea where they would make the video have an equal amount of likes and dislikes. And that like actually ended up working. For the majority of the time, this video had an equal number, like exactly equal. Unfortunately, later, a format change caused YouTube to, round off how many likes and dislikes there are. But thankfully, it's still so we can't tell if that has the actual exact number. We can still tell that it is for the most part equal. Like what is and it's gotten even harder thanks to YouTube's dislikes being deleted. But there's an extension that lets you see dislikes. So because of that, the video has been maintained at an equal number most of the time. Like literally yesterday it was equal, and now today it's not. Oh, I mean only barely not. It's 587,000 likes and 588,000 dislikes. So it can probably be fixed it'll probably be fixed tomorrow, to be honest. But still, weird that like I talking about this like one of the one days. It's not at the right number. I feel fantastic. So now we finally begin the creepy videos. Well, I guess Happy Tree Friends was kind of creepy, but that was more so just like shock. It's not really the same thing. Whatever. I feel fantastic. So funny thing is, like, despite this being like the first creepy video on the iceberg, like I haven't seen all the creepy videos on this iceberg, but I've seen like a good chunk of them, and this is like one of the only creepy ones that scares me. Like actually genuinely scares me, at least of the ones I've seen. I'm sure as we go down we'll see some things that will probably scare me more. But of course it's the first one. That scares me. Anyway, So this is a video. It was uploaded by YouTube channel Creepy Blog. I'm on that in a second. Um, and what it is it's a video of this android, this humanoid and feminine humanoid android in a room singing "I Feel Fantastic" in horrific robotic voice with this music in the background that just sounds like if someone was banging every key on a synthesizer all silent. It was just basically just a synthesizer glitching out and just using random notes. I don't understand how to play synthesizers. I don't know if they have keys on them or not. But anyway, the video is just terrifying, both because of how uncanny the android it is, how uncanny its voice is, how creepy the music is, and how and one thing I don't see people talk about a lot, probably because most of the videos talking about this are before like people really understood liminal spaces, but it's like the room that the robot's in is just this creepy. I don't know. There's something about it just looks creepy with all the blacked out windows. There's a reason Repulsive used it as an album cover. But yeah, so the robot sings "I Feel Fantastic" repeatedly. And then about halfway through the video, the camera starts making cuts to where the robot is sitting down. And she starts singing either "Please Me" or "Please Leave." It's not really clear which. And then starts singing "Run, run, 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 run." And then it cuts to this, it has one shot where it cuts to outside of the house. Just like it randomly just cuts a random shot in the middle of the forest. And then it cuts back to the android. And then she sings a little more, and then the video ends. So people, oh, and in addition to all that, the video's description, is a Greek myth about this guy that hated women so much for being like prostitutes that he created his own. He used rock sculptors to create his own. And because of this, and because of the video and the description, people started to believe that like either A, this was made for or B, it was a serial unaliver who was like murdering his victims and then like putting their clothes on the android for some reason, and then like that's why she's saying "Please leave," because and she's singing because he felt bad about the unaliving, so he wanted her to like be like, "I'm fantastic, I like it." And then the random shot to outside is like where the person is buried. Obviously this theory is completely untrue. People tracked down the origin of where the robot came from and found out that it was made by this guy called like John, and he's a guy that just built androids, and he sold off clips of the android singing from his website. And there are plenty more clips of Tara singing. Her name is Tara, by the way. Most of these clips are just most of them aren't as scary as "I Feel Fantastic," but they are still pretty terrifying. Specific this one where she's like, "It is brutal, it is brutal." But anyway, um, yeah. So he constructed the android. No one knows where the android is. People are still searching for it. And as of recently, the story has been updated even further because of all thanks to the fact that for some reason the original video got copyright claimed. It's been re-uploaded plenty of times, but the reason is because it's probably because some like scam company is attempting to like basically found a way to steal the copyright license from his family or something and stole the video because it was getting a ton of views. And this has happened like really recently, like as of June this year. And yeah, unfortunately the original has been deleted, but you can still watch it. And yeah, here I'm gonna play a clip of the video now. Annotations. Annotations is a system that used to exist on YouTube where you could put text boxes onto videos while making them or even after making them, and you could even put links into these text boxes. A lot of people use annotations in interesting and cool ways, such as to make like making a system where you could bounce around between different parts of a guide video or choose your own adventure stories. But the majority of people just use them as spam. Also, side note, YouTube at one point attempted to implement a community-controlled annotation center, which didn't last very long before it was taken down. I think you can guess why. Because of the amount of spam that was created by annotations, most people viewed them as an annoyance. And because of the combination of this and the fact that annotations didn't work for mobile users who were like over 50% of YouTubers' viewer base, YouTube decided to remove annotations in 2017. Not completely. They still left annotations on videos that already had annotations on them on said videos, but no one was allowed to create any new annotations. Annotations were effectively replaced with the end-screen system, which still exists to this day. However, in 2019, YouTube completely removed all annotations from the platform, including ones that had already been established before annotations had been shut down from being created, and they were just wiped off the face of the platform. Unregistered Hypercam 2. This is an application that can be used to record a screen, but it will always include the watermark of Unregistered Hypercam 2 in the corner of the screen. And as such, a lot of people who didn't really know that much about how to like make videos in like early YouTube would use this to film their videos. And it was specifically used with like old crappy tutorial videos where they would not speak and would type their words on Notepad, often alongside Dreamscape. So because of that, they've been parodied a lot in modern meme culture, with channels like Paternity being good examples. Reset Oreo toothpaste controversy. So there's a Spanish YouTuber named Reset, and what he did was he pulled a funny prank where he took Oreos and he replaced their filling with toothpaste, and then he fed them to a homeless man. He obviously got in trouble with law enforcement for this, and when he remarked back on it, he said, at least the man's mouth will be clean. So, yeah, terrible person. Glad he is in jail. Dramatic Chipmunk. This refers to a video which is a clip from the Japanese TV show Mini Moni Chicha. And in this episode, they have a prairie dog, which everyone who saw the video confused for a chipmunk, hence the title. And then the chipmunk turns and looks at the camera in a pretty funny way while the cameraman is zooming in on it. And then someone took the clip of that, added some dramatic music over it, and hence the video, Dramatic Look, which became another one of YouTube's early viral videos, and it's short, so I'm going to play it now. Hashtag WTFU. This is short for hashtag Where's the Fair Use, which was started by a combination of 3 YouTubers working together. Doug Walker, before changing the channel, Your Movie Sucks, and I Hate Everything. And it was essentially basically pointing out what was wrong with YouTube's copyright system and how it was easy for large corporations to issue out a ton of illegitimate copy strikes, but very hard for individual creators to fight back against just one copyright strike. And as well as how companies can abuse the rights that they're given to protect their property and prevent their property from being pirated, and are using it to just strike down a bunch of videos and steal a bunch of money from people. And essentially, the video acted as a call to action to get people to be like, go against the copyright system. Crazy Frog. Crazy Frog is a YouTube channel which features this annoying frog creature that, for some reason has a pee-pee. But, it basically just uploads videos that are all famous music videos like Safety Dance or We Are the Champions or Last Christmas. Or at least it used to, I guess. Now it's moved on to making weird short TikTok videos. But yeah, it just uploads normal music videos but featuring Crazy Frog in them. And it's most famous for the video, for another early viral video, which is Axel F, a song that's basically only associated with Crazy Frog, and could best be described as the most generic techno song ever, and with Crazy Frog going ding 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 all over it. And apparently Crazy Frog had a video game for some reason. Lee Hardcastle is a claymation animator who's most known for 2 series, Hamster Hell and Simpsons Couch Gag series. Hamster Hell is a 2-part series, with the second part being released 8 years after the first. And the first part, and they both detail the abuse of hamsters in excruciatingly gory and only somewhat over-exaggerated detail. The first episode details a hamster being abused by a child whose mom thinks it'll just be some easy pet for him to have, while the second episode details the abuse of a hamster at the hands of basically people that just want a couple that just want to be rich and famous and using a cute animal and are okay abusing the cute animal to do so, which kind of predicted the whole Squid Game hamster thing. But the Simpsons Couch Guide series, on the other hand, has 4 episodes, though we'll likely see more. The first episode, and each episode is a parody of another movie. The first Simpsons Couch Guide, which is probably meant to be standalone, but due to how popular it was, being like the most popular video on this channel, or well, one of the most popular videos on this channel, he made sequels to it. So the original is a parody of the slasher film You're Next, and what it details is the Simpsons are just enjoying a normal day or a normal night, and then the villains from the movie You're Next come in and just start unaliving everyone in the family one by one, and with Lisa being the only survivor, and even she doesn't survive as she gets shot by the police afterward. And the video became extremely popular just due to how like scary that thought is of just having a normal day and then suddenly murder is just breaking into your house and just attacking you out of nowhere. Just a horrifying concept, and that's what like a lot of the comment section seems to be like echoing that, and that seems to be the reason why it's popular. So as for the sequels to it, and the second one is a sequel to the movie. I mean, it's a parody of the movie Reservoir Dogs, and it's about this gang of criminals breaking into the bank to steal this suitcase, the contents of which isn't revealed until the next episode, and it goes horribly wrong, and everything turns into a gory mess. Only one of them makes it out, which is Ned Flanders, and he manages to escape with the briefcase. And then the third episode, which is a parody of He-Man, he gives the contents of the suitcase. Basically, it's revealed that Ned and this group of criminals were training Marge to get revenge on presumably the people that unalived her family, and the suitcase, it contained what's basically He-Man's sword, and he was going to give that to her so she could go and fight against the guys. And then she trains, she becomes super buff, and she uses the sword and goes to the weird alien castle area to go kill the people. I don't know what it's called in He-Man lore, but and then the fourth episode is a parody of Joker, and to be honest, I don't really see how it relates to the other episodes. I think it's just supposed to like be implying that Krusty is Homer. Maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not sure about how that one fits in. But anyway, yeah. It is like the other episodes though, very gory. Cyriak. Cyriak is another YouTuber who specializes in weird animations. His animations often feature realistic images that are being stretched or altered in some way, and the common theme throughout them is he likes to conglomerate multiple different animals together into like larger compositions of animals, if that makes sense. And he's known for making really weird and disturbing animations like Welcome to Kitty City, Cows, Cows and Cows, Ba, which is the one of like a sheep monster. Not all those animations are creepy. He has some of them that are just more so weird, like 7 billion and Rest in Peace, and that's basically it. But most of them are either weird or creepy. And he's also done some work on some Adult Swim bumpers, which, I mean, yeah, not that surprising considering his style and what Adult Swim bumpers mostly consist of. But yeah, there isn't really much else I can say about it. Blank Room Soup.avi. The original Soup.avi was uploaded in 2005 under the title Freaky Soup Man. However, it has since been re-uploaded under the title of Soup.avi, with the re-upload being much more popular than the original. The video simply consists of these two people who are dressed in what I can only describe as discount nightmare fuel Teletubby costumes, and they walk up to this man who's eating soup and crying and start like comforting him and patting him on the head. A bunch of theories rose out about this video, which are partially inspired by the title, and they suggested some deep web video in which these two people the two Teletubby people kidnapped some guy and took him to this room where then they cooked his wife and forced him to eat her remains in a soup, which is yeah, obviously almost definitely not true at all. As for what that video actually originates from, is a YouTuber by the name of Rainbot managed to track down this guy called Raymond S. Percy, who is best known for being an animator in The Simpsons and Wreck-It Ralph, as well as the voice of Flash from Zootopia. But in addition to these, he also has a performance art show thing, which is called Ray Ray, and on that and in this performance art he uses the costume seen in Blank Room Soup as the characters in his performances. Characters named Ray Ray, which are representations of like his artistic inability to express himself and his like feelings of social loneliness. And he uploaded the original Freaky Soup Man and claimed that it was someone that looked like him but was doing something that he would never do, and that the people that made Blank Room Soup were not affiliated with him. And from there, he was also able to link Rainbot to 3 more Blank Room Soup videos. Blank Room Soup 2 is very similar to Blank Room Soup 1, except the two Ray Rays don't comfort the man. They just kind of stand there up until the end of the video when one of them just breaks into a sprint at him, and then the video cuts off at the screen. The third video, Blank Room Soup 3, is of one of the Ray Rays carrying this tied up man through like a shed or something, and then the fourth video is just footage of Ray Ray, one of the Ray Rays in like the forest being filmed by a camera. But regardless, he claims that the reason these Blank Room Soup videos were created, he claims that what happened was in 2005, while they were performing at Hollywood, a group of people came and broke into the van that they were carrying all their supplies in and stole 2 of the costumes. And so people are theorizing, well, these people that made Blank Room Soup, that's what they used the costumes for. And it was either made to like taunt them or for some fetish purpose or something like that. And from there, someone else was able to get in contact with this person who claims to be a hacker who hacked into the channel and also stole the it was also the thief that stole the costumes and made all the Blank Room Soup videos and did it to like free the true artistic expression of Ray Ray. Now if you ask me, and this is my personal theory, well, the first video, it can be debatable whether the first video was created by Raymond or not. The rest of the videos, along with the story that came with it and the whole hacker thing, was all probably just Percy pretending to be the hacker and making the Blank Room Soup sequels as a marketing stunt. Because, I mean, think about it. Most people that know about Ray Ray know about it from Blank Room Soup. So he capitalized on it and created this big old story. And also the whole story about the hacker stealing the suits to free the artistic expression of Ray Ray. Well, I definitely paraphrased it a lot, and if you read the actual story, it definitely just sounds like it sounds like a movie villain. it's really overly dramatic and theatric. So yeah, I think everything after the original Blink Room Soup is almost definitely just Raymond capitalizing on it. While the original, I do think there's a chance that it could be the original Raymond, and also a decent chance it could also be the original Beats. But who knows? Full movies. So this could be referring to two things. The first is that on YouTube you can watch movies, though generally you're going to have to pay. But if it's a lower budget movie, you can sometimes watch it without with ads for free. However, this could also be referring to, and this is why I think it's more likely referring to, the fact that people have uploaded full movies onto YouTube, or links to websites where you can find full movies. And generally it's like really low budget movies that no one would really ever watch. But it can sometimes be more higher quality movies, like for example, when I searched full movies, the first thing that came up is Ice Age 2. But the higher quality the movie is, the more likely it is that the movie will be altered in some way to avoid copyright detection. SuperMarioLogan. SuperMarioLogan is a YouTuber who began his career by playing with his brother and playing like with plushies, and this gradually grew to like becoming a sort of series where they had recurring characters and episode plots and stuff like that. And it became popular and became what their channel was known for. But a lot of controversies Logan has been the center of a lot of controversies. He's been accused of having multiple offensive jokes throughout his series, which, in his fairness, a lot of them were made in early 2010s when those kinds of jokes were more socially acceptable, but it's still shitty that he included them. And then he also cheated on his girlfriend, although he claims that his girlfriend was like the one that cheated on him. It's like a whole situation. And then the worst thing that happened is an outrage between him and a bunch of parents, because what happened was he included a clip in one of his episodes of one of the characters attempting to unalive themselves because of not being able to get like a gaming PC or something, and because of this. He attempts to unalive himself using a noose, and a bunch of his stupid baby audience that watched it didn't know what that was, tried mimicking his actions. Well, okay, I say a bunch, but like it was one kid. And this caused a bunch of outrage from him, which caused both YouTube and Nintendo to attempt to take him down. YouTube because his content was, obscene, and it was just putting a negative impression on their platform, leaving parents that were letting their kids watch YouTube with negative impressions, and Nintendo because it was using a bunch of Nintendo characters without rights. So his channel got deleted, his channel got either completely age restricted or demonetized like 3 times. And he had like a complete and total meltdown about it. It's like, we're gonna have to be turning on all the lights. We're gonna turn on everything in my house. He says, well, there's a Lamborghini in his garage. But anyway, eventually he's made a new channel, SML, where he basically is remaking a bunch of his older videos, but using original characters. YouTube was a dating website. This is true, as in 2005, when YouTube was originally created, it was a dating website that heavily involved video creating features. It was always intended to be created as a video sharing website, but the creators of YouTube felt like the best practical application of video sharing would be through dating, and people would post videos where they would describe what their ideal partner would be. However, no one wanted to use it as a dating website, to the point where they even started trying to pay women to go on the website and use it and make videos. But that didn't work out, and no one wanted to use it still, so they just decided to open it up to any kinds of videos, and that's how we got the YouTube we have today. Some early versions of YouTube as a dating website still exist and can be accessed via the Wayback Machine. Angry German Painter's Downfall Parodies. So I'm sure you can guess who I'm referring to when I say angry German painter, and I'm going to be referring to them as painter throughout the rest of this segment of the iceberg, as well as any other entries that may talk about him, which I know at least one other will. This entry of the iceberg refers to a scene from the movie Downfall, which is a movie about a movie about World War II, from the perspective of the German army, and there's a scene towards the end of the movie, where basically all of the Allies are like closing in around Berlin, where the painter's bunker is located, and he's losing contact with all of his troops, and one of the generals, like, basically knowing that the troops are inexperienced and don't have enough weapons, and knowing that they can't win it, orders all the troops to back out, which makes him extremely upset, which makes the painter extremely upset, and he starts ranting and raving. And the scene has been parodied just countless times. In specific, this channel titled Painter Rants and Parodies, or Painter Rants Parodies, seems to be the main one. It has been making these videos on a fairly frequent basis for since the dawn of YouTube, pretty much. And the reasoning as to why is both because of how easy it is to just simply change the subtitles and completely change what the rant is about, as well as the fact that it's just funny how crazy he is, and just combined with the fact that he's speaking German, because I don't know what it is, but German just sounds like an angrier language, if you understand what I'm saying. Fallen Kingdom. To understand this entry, I'm first going to have to explain the concept of Minecraft parodies. I'm pretty sure most people already know about them, but basically in the early to mid 2010s, when Minecraft was in its initial peak of popularity, a bunch of Minecraft YouTubers would create parodies of popular songs of the time, with lyrics being replaced to match up with Minecraft in some way, and they would usually have actually pretty well animated music videos to go alongside them. The maybe second most well known, I guess it's Revenge is probably the most well known, but the second most well known Minecraft parody is Fallen Kingdom, which is a parody of the song Viva La Vida by Coldplay. And the original song Viva La Vida is about the French Revolution, and it's about how no one ever really knew what the king's last words were, because no one really knew what the king's last words were because everyone just booed him and hurried him to the gallows, and they rang a bunch of bells to drown out what he was saying. And so the original song of Viva La Vida is about essentially a song form, an artistic reimagining of King Louis's final speech. Or sorry, King Louis, not King Louis. But so the Minecraft parody is similarly, it's a similar story. It's about a king who rules over this kingdom, and the video cuts back and forth between him walking through the ruins of the kingdom and a flashback of him as his kingdom is getting invaded by mobs and Herobrine, and him just watching his entire kingdom crumble to pieces. And by the end of the video, his wife and kid get blown up, and then he jumps off a ledge in this honestly pretty sad scene. The parody was so popular that Captain Sparkles, who made it, released 3 sequels to it, all of which were not parodies of pre-existing songs, but rather original songs, which are, I mean, they're not terrible, they're not amazing, but they're actually not as terrible as you expect songs by Captain Sparkles to be. The songs are Take Back the Night, Find the Pieces, and Dragon Hearted, and each one continues the story. In the second one, the prince, who apparently survived in the first one, is found by these villagers raiding the ruins of the kingdom, and he's brought to their village and trained to be a warrior. And then these zombie pigmen invade the village and destroy everything, and he manages to fend them off and kill them. But unfortunately, the villagers who lived in the village, including the one who was basically his father, all die, And so then the rest of the video is him going on this journey to the kingdom that he came from, or rather its ruins, where he finds Herobrine and fights Herobrine and ultimately ends up killing Herobrine. Oh crap, is that? That should be fine. Then Find the Pieces is about him, basically what happens is the zombie pigmen construct these portals to return to the overworld, and so then they come out in this like lava ship and construct the Wither to and have him. They construct the Wither and use it to try and destroy the city, but the prince destroys the Wither, only for the zombie pigmen to come out with more of their lava ships and grab another star it leaves behind and use it to as a fuel source, I guess. And then at the end of the video, he goes and reunites. He goes out into the countryside around the kingdom and reunites with his father. And in the final video, him and his father go to the end and they tame the Ender Dragon. And then the Ender Dragon fights this giant piglin mech while the prince fights the king of the pigmen. And at the very end of the video, the prince sacrifices himself to redirect this missile to the pigmen's fortress, which destroys them all because I guess they're robots or something. So this is something that came up after I finished recording the original part of the segment, but Captain Sparkles actually made a 5th entry in the Fallen Kingdom series, which is a prequel to all the others. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. The Trololo Song. So there was this man who was born in Russia in the early 1900s, named Edward Cahill, and he was growing up during World War II, and as such, it was a very depressing time to everyone. And as a way of holding on to hope, he began practicing singing in a baritone voice to cheer up the wounded soldiers. And the singing he would go on to continue practicing his singing through the war until it was over. At which point he became a famous singer who would perform primarily in operas or opera houses. Eventually, he found a song called "I Am Very Glad As I'm Finally Returning Home," and he really liked the song because of its tune and its melody and stuff. However, the song's lyrics were about a cowboy returning home from the war, and at the time he wanted to perform this, the Cold War was going on, and Western ideas weren't exactly something that the Russian government was happy with. So, in order to still perform the song, he sung a non-lexical version of it, where instead of using the actual lyrics, he just used syllables like la 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 and la la and stuff like that. And because of this, years in the future, when the internet, when YouTube came about, and the internet got its hands on some footage of him singing this, and due to how just funny it was, this video of this guy just randomly singing and laughing in this baritone voice to a cheery, upbeat song. People really thought the video was funny and started using it as sort of an alternate version of the Rickroll, where they'd send you a link to something telling you it was something different, and then you click on it and it'd take you to Mr. Trololo instead. And also because of the lyrics of the song sounding like laughing and lol, the song became associated with Trollface, and it's become it's even somewhat resurged in recent years as the Trollface meme has resurged. Edward Kill himself actually really liked the popularity of the meme, and would perform the song to anyone who asked it if he had the time when he was just out in public. And he even came out of retirement to sing that song one last time on live TV. Sadly, he passed in 2012. David After Dentist. This is another early viral video, one which is made by a parent filming their 8-year-old child named David, who had just got home from the dentist and was still high on anesthesia. And as such, they just mumble some weird, incoherent things like, you have 4 eyes, I have like 4 fingers, and in the middle of the video they just scream. And because of how funny it was, and at least in comparison to the rest of the content on YouTube around the time it was posted, it became viral. Video editor. This simply refers to the fact that YouTube has a built-in video editor that you can use to edit videos before you upload them, or even in some case, even after you upload them. It's mostly used to take out segments of video that have been copywritten. Friend lists. YouTube used to have a feature where they allowed you to add certain YouTube channels as your friends, and then you'd be able to message them more conveniently. This feature was removed in 2019. I have to wait for this to reach 15 seconds. Ben Drowned videos. Ben Drowned is a creepypasta about the game The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, a game which was already pretty dark when compared to other Zelda games to begin with, so it's only natural that in the early 2010s, when creepypastas were at their peak, that one will get written about Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. The creepypasta is about this person named Jeduceable, who gets a Nintendo 64 and is trying to find games for it. He ends up buying the game cartridge from an old man, and if any of this sounds really cliche, he ends up going to an old man's garage sale where he sold a copy of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. And if any of this is sounding really cliche to you, that's because this creepypasta basically invented a lot of the creepypasta cliches we now associate with video game creepypasta specifically. So he goes home and he plays The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and he attempts the 4th day glitch, which is what allows you to basically avoid the moon crashing into the ground on the 3rd day and just kind of keep playing the game. And from there, he ends up unleashing this spirit named Ben, which just so happens to be the name of a save file that was already saved to the account. And interestingly, all the NPCs had already called him Ben. From here, it causes a bunch of glitches to start happening to the world, and eventually, Jeduceable encounters Skull Kid eventually Jeduceable encounters Skull Kid, who picks Link up and throws him to the ground, lighting him on fire, which kills Link. And this happens repeatedly multiple times, and it's obviously not supposed to happen. So Jeduceable kind of starts freaking out. He goes and tries to talk to the guy who owned the cartridge, and asks if he knew anything about Ben, to which the guy doesn't really say anything. And then he goes home, where eventually Ben starts talking to him via Cleverbot, which is an AI chat bot thingy, and he starts seeing the image of the statue created via the elegy of emptiness everywhere, which in the game is something you can create. It's basically like a statue of Link that you can leave behind, but they just have this blank, creepy stare. So it was obviously incorporated into the creepypasta as the main form of Ben. Eventually, he ends up progressing through the game, through the creepypasta, he ends up learning that Ben, as the name of the creepypasta would imply, drowned. And then eventually Jeduceable ends up having like recurring dreams about Ben and about the Moon Children, which are also NPCs in the game. And by the end of the creepypasta, it's implied that Jeduceable has gotten unalived by Ben. So, if all that sounds complicated, that's because it's So then, the YouTube channel, Jeduceable's YouTube channel, proceeded to upload videos which essentially recreated the creepypasta, and they did a very good job at it, especially for 2010. Like, the modding is really good and actually would probably be genuinely creepy in the 2010s, and fairly believable as well. But the creepypasta not in there, as the videos linked to a website called the Moon, like the Children of the Moon, which is like some cult that like plans on sacrificing people to an entity called the Father to allow them to ascend, and this is why Ben got unalive, because they were trying to make it so you could ascend. And this whole website had like an ARG built around it, where like playing Song of Time on it would cause playing like a video that where Link plays the Song of Time would cause the website to reverse and be essentially stuck in like a 3-day time loop. And you could, like, users could change things on it. Eventually this ARG ended kind of without any fanfare and just kind of went out. But then 10 years later, in 2020, Jujuceable decided, the guy, not the character, decided to, you know what, let's continue this. Also, in between, then he made some podcasts on it, one of which being about being titled Joe Biden and Thanos. So I had to mention that somewhere. But in this here he began the final arc of Ben Drowned, which began with a bunch of .txt videos where it's just people typing about the state of the world. Because apparently in this universe, some world-ending event happened in 2012, and I don't know why they mentioned this. It barely has any impact on the story. It practically has no impact. But anyway, then the story continues as normal with someone waking up in this hotel that they've been locked in, being jailed by this masked figure, and the viewers of the videos had the option to vote on what actions the person would partake in. Eventually, these actions led to the person dying, and then a second person replacing them. With this new person, using this new person eventually receiving the old Majora's Mask cartridge and playing on it. From here, they started interacting with the Moon Children, one of whom, named Rosa, gave her, or wait, not Rosa, one of them named, she ends up talking to someone named Ifrit, who is possessing like this deleted model from the game's files. And he basically says that like Ben is essentially some like collective of children all mashed together, and Ben was the first of them to be unalived. So as such, they named Ben after it, and it's short for like, it's an acronym for something. I forgot. I'm gonna be honest. I'm sorry. But so, and Sarah needs to find out how to free Ben from the grasp of the father and everything. And so she's Sarah's the name of the person playing, by the way. So Sarah goes on this big journey where she keeps encountering moon children who give her items that help. Basically, she keeps encountering enemies placed there by some entities, presumably the father or someone else we'll get to in a second, and fighting them off. She's unable to, then she'll meet a moon child who will give her something that'll help her. As she progresses, the world gets progressively more and more glitched up and broken. But eventually, she manages to find Jujuceable, who, as it turns out, after having been absorbed into the game at the end of the original creepypasta, is now working for the father and is essentially trying to protect the world, because Sarah's attempt to destroy the father could end up destroying the world instead. So he fights against Sarah and manages to unalive Sarah, which results in this part of the ARG in which people would attempt to enter codes to try and revive Sarah, and eventually succeeded. With Sarah successfully revived, she's now meets a bunch of the spirits of the Moon Children, who all start saying, hey, maybe I'll start like debating whether or not they should let the moon crash or perform the 4th day glitch at the risk of destroying the world. And then everyone votes on whether Sarah should do that or not. Eventually, they voted for her to do the glitch, and so she performs it, which results in this like whole ritual thing happening where Ifrit is like, haha, you fool, this is what I wanted all along, and it will summon the Father to allow us to become like gods and do whatever we want with this world. Oh, it's also revealed in like in like one of the penultimate episodes that it's revealed that like all of these people here are trapped here by some sort of AI program created via an evil corporation that's like trying to help people ascend to a digital afterlife after they are unalive, but whatever. Anyway, Sarah performs the 4th day glitch. Ifrit is all like, yeah, oh no, Father's gonna be here. It's gonna be so great. And then Sarah fights one more of the Moon Children that are on Ifrit's side, which takes the form of the game's final boss, Majora's Wrath. and she's unable to fight it physically, but then she plays the Song of Healing, which results in the Moonchild getting destroyed and Ifrit getting replaced by the father, which is this weird distorted image of a guy. And from there, she starts talking to, she shows the father this pendant full of all the memories of the previous children that was given to her by Ifrit. And from there, she's able to have a conversation with the father and discovers that the father is just an AI program designed to do what's best for the world and can only do things as a reaction to other things. And basically, she starts saying she starts basically bargaining with him, and he's saying like, "Yeah, I'll reboot this world. I'll give Ben a proper body, and I'll delete all the other children, and who knows what's going to happen to them after this." And from there, it just kind of ends. Just Deducible did make a well. Okay, he made 2 more episodes. One of them being an epilogue, which is, well, okay, they're both jokes. One of them is like an epilogue where people made fun of the new arc of Ben Drown for being like too much of an anime, so the new ending is just him parodying that. And then by like actually making it full on anime. And then the other is a sequel to a joke video he made. Keyboard Cat. Keyboard Cat is a short, early viral video on YouTube, which is just a video of a cat that's someone is moving to make look like it's playing a keyboard, and specifically like an electric keyboard. I don't know if that's the official name for that instrument, but yeah, it's a simple, cute cat video, which was, you know, one of the main things that the early internet was comprised of, and in 2010, yeah. 2008. You know what I mean? Early YouTube, something that would become very popular, and so naturally it did become popular and became one of YouTube's early viral videos. I'm trying to stretch a segment talking about like a 1-minute video about a cat playing a keyboard to longer than it should be. Also, I think the original video was recorded in like the 80s or something, but anyway. Webdriver Torso. Webdriver Torso is a YouTube channel that uploaded hundreds of thousands of YouTube videos while it was still active. The contents of these videos are all pretty much the same. They're all, for the majority of videos on Webdriver Torso's channel are titled TMP, followed by what appears to just be a keyboard mashing of random numbers and letters. The videos themselves are all 10 seconds long and contain 9 different, almost second-long slides, each of which is titled aqua.flv, followed by a slide number, and is simply a blue and red square or rectangle in random positions on the screen with a high-pitched beep. The beep in squares changes each slide. I will now play an example. Amongst Webdriver Torso's many videos that follow that same formula, there are 5 that differ from it. The first of these being Aqua, which is their first ever upload. And it's the same as the normal videos, other than it's really only memorable because it's the first upload and because it's titled differently. Another one being a video of the Eiffel Tower at night for some reason, and no one really, still to this day, no one knows why that's uploaded. And the same goes with another different video, that being an episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which I think is dubbed over in another language. I don't know, I can't access it from my country because it's, you know, restrictions, blocked, all that. But yeah, no one really knows about the Eiffel Tower or the Aqua Teen Hunger Force videos or why they exist on the channel, but they do. As for the other 2 different videos, I will get to those in a second. So due to the sheer quantity of videos Webdriver Torso uploaded, as well as the what the videos are and the 2 mysterious outliers, people began like suspecting that Webdriver Torso was like sending some sort of secret code messages, and they treated it like this was some weird mysterious channel. However, people eventually managed to track down this like application thingy called Webdriver. So people eventually found out that Webdriver is a software application program, which and Google was effectively using this program to test out their software on YouTube, to test out how YouTube was working by uploading these videos in some way that they never really disclosed to the public, but I mean, yeah, that makes sense. And it was also discovered that Webdriver Torso was not the only WebDriver channel, as there were other WebDrivers that were uploading similar content, such as WebDriver YPP, WebDriver IVPE, and another YouTube channel called Ekaterina Basic. And these channels were all uploading the same content, but they just happened to not be graced by the algorithm the same way WebDriver Torso had. And a bunch of people found these tests that Google was making on WebDriver Torso and assumed it to be some code, and really, it's just Occam's razor is the simple solution. It's just them Google testing software. And as for the other two, two videos that are dissimilar from their normal content, after the mystery was solved and people found out what WebDriver Torso truly was, they uploaded a video which is titled, TMP RKRL 85. If that title didn't make it clear enough for you, this video is a rickroll where the red square, well, it starts off like a normal WebDriver Torso video, but then halfway through, the red square turns into a silhouette of dancing Hardcastle, and high-pitched beeps go from being random to vaguely forming the same melody as Never Gonna Give You Up. Webdriver Torso continued uploading after the mystery was solved until around 5 years ago when their uploads kind of slowed, and then 3 years ago they basically stopped altogether with only 2 uploads having been made since then. The most recent of which, having been made 6 months ago, is the only other video different from their normal catalog of videos, that I could find at least, which is titled Generated 10-Minute Vid, and it's what I'm using in the background right now. And it's, yeah, other than it being 10 minutes and it's saying some weird mash of numbers rather than aqua, it's identical to all the other videos pretty much. Numa Numa. Numa Numa is another early viral video. This one was created initially on Newgrounds rather than YouTube, when a man by the name of Gary Brolsma made a video of him lip syncing to the song Dragoseti Dinte. I definitely butchered that, which is a semi-Romanian, semi-English song, and it contains the lyrics Numa Numa, hence the title of the video. He uploaded it to Newgrounds mostly just to show it to his friends as like a little joke. However, his friends posted it like publicly because they wanted people to make fun of him, and they thought people would make fun of him. Instead, they got the exact opposite reaction, as people responded so positively to it that it went viral and became arguably the most famous video of all time on the internet, at least for the time being. Also, unlike most people who make a viral video who don't really do anything with it, except sell their videos as NFTs, which he did do, but like we didn't lose the video. It's not like Charlie Bit My Finger where the video was unlisted as a result of him making it into an NFT. And also he was like, down on his he was down on money when he did it, so I'm more forgiving there than with the stupid Charlie Bit My Finger NFT shit. But he actually utilized his fame to become a YouTuber, not like a massive YouTuber, but he is still a YouTuber to this day. He created a sequel to Numa Numa called Numa Numa 2, which was his own original. Well, actually, he initially didn't like all the fame from it because people were making fun of him for it. But then he started seeing how much it was like making people laugh and smile, and how like he got like a letter from like someone in the war saying that like your video brought light to my day. And so, because of that, he was inspired to make a sequel to Numa Numa, Numa Numa 2, which was his own original song. After that, he continued, him and his friends continued making more videos on the channel, which now became a comedy sketch channel with all of his friends playing different characters and acting out different comedy sketches. I don't know where I was going with that, but he also got into music and started making. He also got into music and started making some albums after this, and still makes music to this day. And and one last update: he renamed his channel to Dork Daily in 2016, but it's still pretty much the same. It's still pretty much the same channel. It's though it now focuses. It's still run by the same guys, but it now focuses more on media reviews than it does comedy sketches. Video responses. Video responses were a feature on YouTube that allowed you to upload videos into the comment section of other YouTube videos as a response to the initial video. This feature was discontinued in 2013 due to it not being utilized enough and no one really watching the video responses. Vitas, the Seventh Element. Vitas is a Russian singer who is extremely popular in both Russia and China. He created a song called "The Seventh Element," which he then performed at a New Year's Eve party in the early 2000s. Technically, it was a pre-recorded New Year's Eve party, but who cares? And in this party, everyone was dressed up in like these weird futuristic, like 80s plus futuristic style clothing is the best way I could describe it. And someone uploaded a video of this online. This video then ended up going viral in around 2018 after a Redditor was searching for clips from the movie The Fifth Element and ended up finding this instead, and then wanted to show everyone about it because it's amazing. Not only because of how weird the music video is, but also because of how weird Vitas' singing style is. I obviously can't play much of it, but I'm going to play the most replayed clip from it. That weird noise is probably the primary reason the song became a meme. That, along with the rest of his singing, which is also, I mean, it's not as weird as that, but it still is a very unique voice due to what someone who works with him claims is a result of him having a vocal cord deformation. But yeah, this song caused him to become significantly more popular in the West than he ever was previously. Lost episode creepypasta videos. Lost episode creepypastas are a subgenre of creepypasta, which are essentially about characters that will end up learning that there's a lost episode of one of their favorite TV shows. They find the lost episode either by like some guy at a garage sale giving it to them or buying it on Amazon. Or they're an intern at the place that the episode is being shown at. And through one of these ways, they end up getting their hands on the episode. They watch it, starts off normal, but then spooky stuff happens, and there's a lot of blood, and the characters are hyper-realistic. Then at the end of the creepypasta, usually something bad will happen in real life as a result of what happened in the TV show. Because this genre is really easy to write and it's really so filled with cliches. There are just a ton of these creepypastas, but it's really easy to make a. Not only is it really easy to make a lost episode creepypasta, it's also easy to make a tie-in video for it. So what a lot of people that wrote these lost episode creepypastas would do is they take clips from random episodes of the TV show Lost Episode Creepypasta was about, splice them together, throw in some spooky imagery, and boom, you got a spooky lost episode creepypasta. Especially funny with like ones like especially funny with some of them that just don't even match up with the creepypasta at all. But the most famous of these is easily Squidward's Self-Game-End, which is one of the most popular lost episode creepypastas. The original was pretty much your run-of-the-mill basic creepypasta. A guy works at Nickelodeon as an intern, finds a spooky episode, watches it. Everyone boos Squidward for bad clarinet playing, then Squidward self-game-ends himself. And Squidward self-game-ends himself, and then there are some spooky dead children, which is a really gross thing to put in the creepypasta, but yeah, the author just threw that in for shock value. The last episode creepypasta basically is just the video to go along with it is just a bunch of spliced up SpongeBob clips with some mild editing that makes Squidward's eyes red in some areas and distorted and staticky beyond belief. And no, they never show the unalived children in it. It's also worth mentioning that an actual SpongeBob episode actually referenced Squidward's Self-Game-End. Well, at least they used to. They edited the scene because it was too scary. Neil Cicierega, aka Lemon Demon. Neil Cicierega, aka Lemon Demon, is a music artist and content creator who's been around pretty much since the dawn of YouTube, and even before that. He started his career by making music albums on short music albums on Newgrounds. One of these albums contained on it the song "The Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny," a song about a bunch of characters that were popular in pop culture at the time fighting against each other. And this song was just ripe to have an animation made about it, so someone did. Someone on Newgrounds created a flash animation of the song, and that video went viral and got ripped to YouTube and went even more viral there. And the song basically became one of the earliest viral videos ever, and it was so popular that it was voted one of the best comedy songs of the year, even beating out people like Weird Al. And keep in mind, well, Neil Cicierega he's not exactly mainstream, but he's kind of like in between mainstream and underground. Now, at the time he created this, he was basically just nobody. No one knew who he was at this time. So him beating out Weird Al is very impressive. But after this came out, he continued producing more albums and started developing his own weird style. Songs he made would often be separated into 4 different categories. Songs that are like him describing something mundane in really complex terms, songs that are about follow some sort of narrative, songs that can best be described as cryptidcore, and lastly, nonsense songs. He continued making music and albums, but he also started a YouTube channel where he started making art and comedy sketches. One of these being a series, the Potter Puppet Pals. As he started making his channel in the mid 2000s when the Harry Potter films were extremely popular. So Neil Cicierega capitalized on that by making a series of videos which were all about puppet versions of the Harry Potter characters undergoing short couple-minute long comedy sketches, with each of the characters being represented by very watered-down versions of the characters' traits in the books. The most popular video from the series is another early viral video. Yep, this guy managed to have 2 viral videos. This one being the mysterious ticking noise, where Harry Potter, Severus Snape ends up finding out about this mysterious ticking noise and starts singing Severus Snape to it. And then several of the other characters start joining in and singing their names as well. Eventually, at the end of the video, they revealed that the noise was caused by a pipe bomb, which blows up as Voldemort wins. A plot which is probably better than almost all of the Harry Potter movies and books. Okay, I stole that joke from Diamond Bolt, but whatever. It's true. But so from there, he continued making sketches and music, and he also produced the song "Two Trucks," which, by the way, if you haven't heard that song, you should look it up. It's real great. Eventually, he released the album Spirit Phone in 2016, which has become his most popular album as well as his most mainstream one. And following this, he kind of stopped making original music and instead started creating Plunderphonics art. He's created 4 Plunderphonics albums so far, these being called the Mouth Quadrilogy, which consists of Mouth Sounds, Mouth Silence, Mouth Moods, and Mouth Dreams. Mouth Sounds is an album that is entirely comprised of remixes of the song Smash Mouth. The remix of the song All Star by Smash Mouth, mashed up with various other different songs. And Mouth Silence is remixes of just various different Smash Mouth songs with various other songs. And then Mouth Moods and Mouth Dreams are just whatever remixes he wants to make, really. Mouth Dreams includes another video which, while not being as popular as some of his other viral videos, is still very popular. A video called a song called Bustin', which is a remix of the Ghostbusters theme with some juvenile lyrics. And of course, he also created
he also managed to create a third viral video earlier. I should have mentioned this earlier, but I forgot. Called Brody Quest. This being a video about the actor Adrian Brody, where he drags a PNG of Adrian Brody like across the world and has him go through what starts out as like him living his day-to-day life, and then turns into a worldwide tour, which eventually ends with Brody destroying the entire universe. This song became this song and the video associated with it became so popular that people started making a bunch of different remixes of the song, and well, not really remixes, but more so versions of the music video with other various different characters. That's pretty much all I have to say for that one. Editor's note: I'm a stupid fucking idiot. No, Brody does not destroy the universe at the end of every quest he makes. He fills the world with his face at the end of it. That's what happens. I don't know how I got those two things mixed up. I'm sorry. Bye.
Creepy grunge ghost girl in the mirror. This is an early semi-viral horror video, one of the most popular horror videos on YouTube, and it's only 15 seconds long, so I'll just play it. RackaRacka. RackaRacka is a YouTube channel which has continued to upload videos since it first started in the early 2010s. However, they were most well known in the early 2010s because of the very high production quality that the videos had, with the videos often portraying really intense action scenes that are far better than like what most YouTubers were even close to being capable of doing at the time. And hell, I'd even say that they look a little better than some actual movies. Black Widow. They're also known for a series on Ronald McDonald, which depicts Ronald McDonald as this high-pitched, obnoxious clown character that just runs around pissing everybody off. And they filmed like a bunch of comedy sketches with him. Those videos are all extremely gross, so I'm not going to play any of them, and I'm just going to play this Windows in the background. And it's definitely because it's extremely gross, and not just because I'm lazy. Barbie.avi. Barbie.avi is a creepypasta, which is about a guy who finds this trash computer near the side of his house, and he looks through it and ends up finding these videos, which display a woman who appears to be, what she says is mostly incomprehensible, but she appears to be repeating the word skin and picking at her skin and looking progressively more and more distressed as the videos go on, almost bursting out into crying at the end of one of them. The video also at the end of the final video, it cuts to railroad tracks, which the protagonist recognizes as being close to his house. So he goes to the tracks, and from there, walks into a nearby forest and discovers this abandoned house in the middle of it. He goes into the abandoned house and discovers chairs and doors that are far too new they're far too new for like an abandoned house. And eventually he finds something being covered up by tarp in the bathtub and like being flooded with water. Then he hears a loud moaning sound, which, as he writes the story, he thinks back on it and realizes that it was probably just a pipe bursting or something. But in the moment, it really scares him, and so he jumps out of the house and runs away. It's a very interesting creepypasta simply due to the fact that it never really explains what's going on. There's no paranormal entity. It's just a guy finds some creepy things, and it's super up for interpretation. Like, what does Barbie mean? Was this woman being attacked by someone? Was this some sort of Yasus attempt? Was this like what could this thing have been? Was she trying to like remove her skin? There's so many different iterations. But as you can imagine, similar to Lost Episode Creepypasta, this video had some tie-in videos made with it. Barbie.avi 1 through 4. Though interestingly, Barbie.avi 3 didn't get uploaded until a couple of years after 1, 2, and 4. But whatever. These videos are actually far closer to the creepypasta than you'd expect. They display a woman who appears to be getting irritated and is like rubbing her arms and sort of picking at her skin. And she is and the audio is freaking incomprehensible. It just sounds like just loud static. You can barely make out a single word she's saying. I did not hear any skin in it. But what's interesting is that the woman in the video has no arm. Well, I mean, she has one arm, and her other arm is cut off about halfway through to just a stub. And this sparked like a lot of interest. Like, is this a part of the creepypasta? Like, is this a real interview with someone? What's going on here? And then the fourth episode displays text at the bottom of the screen which says BIID, which is short for body identity integrity disorder. Body integrity identity disorder, which is a severe mental disorder where someone feels like one or more body parts do not belong to them, and it causes them like pain to have that body part, to the point where the only way to achieve happiness is to remove that body part. In addition to this, there's also images at the beginning of some of them that say this is not like basically like federal disclaimers. And the combination of these two things pointed toward it being some sort of interview with someone who suffers from body integrity identity disorder. Eventually, people managed to trace this back to like some sort of website filled with medical records and interviews. Russian people specifically managed to track it down. Not sure why that is. Apparently, creepypasta is really popular in Russia. But it was found out that this was a woman named Tamara Mary Klein, someone who did not have body integrity identity disorder, as the original tapes did not have the BIID nor the disclaimer. So it was just an ordinary interview, and those are just added for like, I don't know, spook factor to fit with the narrative of the story or something. But yes, what actually happened was she got into an accident with a washing machine, which ripped one of her arms off. The trauma from the incident has left her at the mental level of a teenager ever since, unfortunately. But yeah, the creepypasta has been solved. Gosh, I ended that one on a depressing note. The 301 views phenomenon. So, YouTube wants to verify its videos and make sure that the views that they're receiving are legitimate views. However, there's millions and millions of videos that only have a few views on them, and so there's no real reason to like check those videos, because that'd just be a huge waste of time and resources. So to combat this, YouTube is programmed to only check videos once they have 300 views. However, they're programmed to check them once they have 300 views, and once they do reach 300 views, it will freeze the view count while the video is being checked by YouTube over the course of one or 2 days. So while the video's view count is frozen, the video can still receive new views, but these views are essentially stored away in a storage and are not counted in the actual view count until after the video's view count is unfrozen, at which point all the stored views are brought back into it, and the views may affect the view count as normal. Now, the reason this is called the 301 views phenomenon and not the 300 phenomenon is because of the fact that the way the code is supposed to be written, the way the code should have been written was that it's basically due to a glitch, because the way that the code was supposed to be written was that if the video's view count is less than 300, then it's always able to receive a new view. However, they accidentally wrote less than or equal to, meaning that 300 is equal to 300, so it's still able to receive one more view before it goes into view frozen mode. This glitch was removed from YouTube in 2015, and the YouTuber Numberphile, who covered this glitch and is where I'm getting my information from, was rewarded with an Easter egg where his video is now permanently stuck at 301 views, or at least listed as 301 views. Obviously, he has more, but which ties back into the whole Easter eggs thing I talked about in the first iceberg, and how the first tier of the iceberg, and how like there's Easter eggs on specific videos, and I wanted to get into there. Cool. Justin Bieber. You know who he is. I know who he is. I'm pretty sure the only reason he's on this YouTube iceberg is because his song "Baby" was the most disliked video on YouTube for a very long time, like for 6 years, until eventually being beaten by YouTube Rewind 2018. Now it's only the 5th most disliked YouTube video. Pivot animations. This entry refers to YouTube videos created using the animation software Pivot Animator, which is a software that allows you to create simplistic animations with stick figures. Despite how simplistic the sprites that are used in the animations itself can be quite complex. It's also used for creating fight scenes, which is in the well-known series Animations. Nameless channels and videos. So yes, there are YouTube channels and YouTube videos that do not have any names. This is probably the most prominent example that comes in most people's heads when you think about this. This YouTube channel doesn't have an official name, but it is verified as a secondary name here, Angel404, which is what I'll be referring to them as. They have 1.28 million subscribers. So they have tons of subscribers, but they don't have a name. And Timeworks did a video on it, basically explained that it's because they do have a name, it's just the character they have, through some glitch in the algorithm or how the character is drawn or something like that, causes the character to be invisible. And they're also a good example of the whole videos aspect of this entry, as the majority of videos on their channel do not have any title. There are other videos. So, for example, when I searched up nameless videos, I found this playlist right here, which, I mean, it's mostly just a bunch of memes. They're really, the only one of these that I find a little more interesting than me is this one because of more spoilers. These two, which are like some J-pop music videos, and of course, where was it? This one right here by Vitas, which is actually kind of an interesting video because it's a video about nothing, and so it has no title. Also, I don't know why these two are on this playlist. And it looks like we also have some other videos from Angel404 in here. Yeah. Go back. Anyway, really, the main reason I'm bringing this playlist up is because of this. Wait. Let me just turn 2x speed off. Sorry, that was on. Alright, 2018 YouTube outage. On October 16th, 2018, the encryption keys were changed worldwide in order to make them better match up with the domain name system. If you had no idea what that meant, good, because I don't either. But basically, whatever I just described was responsible for causing a worldwide internet outage on multiple websites, including YouTube, which lasted for around 90 minutes. Star Wars Kid. This was a video created by a 15-year-old boy named Ghassan Reza, who filmed a video of himself wielding this stick and trying to use it like a lightsaber and imitating Darth Maul's double-sided lightsaber from Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. His friends ended up finding a video, which they weren't supposed to, but they ended up finding it, and they uploaded it online and started sharing it around various websites. And it became a viral video before YouTube was even created, and then later got uploaded to YouTube once YouTube was created, where it got tens of millions of views. Ghislaine was really received heavy cyberbullying after the incident, with people constantly making fun of him and calling him, basically just making fun of him, either because they thought what he was doing was cringy or because they were just assholes. So there were some people who actually liked what he did and helped donate money to him so he could raise up money for an iPod, but the majority of people were really terrible. And he got bullied so much to the point where he had to be pulled out of high school for a few years, though he did eventually return for his senior year. It got so bad that he started having self-terminating thoughts, but he ended up getting through it, and has later had interviews where he's talked about mental health awareness and cyberbullying. Alright, this is the part of the video where I got a much better mic. Anyway, so Miss Shane St. John. So, Miss Shane St. John is a character created by Eric Fournier, who is basically this like supermodel that got run over by a train and attempted to repair herself with like mannequin parts. And the character is essentially meant to be like a parody of like, celebrity fame and like celebrities that stop being famous and kind of like, lose control of their lives and like fall out of the public eye and turn to like drugs and stuff like that. But more than anything, the character was just created by him as like an art project to be weird. And yeah, that's very apparent. So Shane is played by Eric wearing this creepy, uncanny looking mask, often covering himself in like tape and plastic and various just other trashy things. And then like he, rather than using his limbs directly, he starts holding out like these mannequin limbs and using them to do things for him. The video, and he played this character in several of these cassette tapes where the character Shane would just like just do various random things, which could be anything as mundane as passing out candy to kids on Halloween to anything as extreme as burning an entire building to the ground. And they often also featured the secondary character Kiki, who's like this possessed doll. These videos were originally all released on VHS tapes. However, once YouTube got created later in Eric Fournier's career, after all the Shane videos had already been created, he uploaded them all to YouTube under the YouTube channel Elastic Spastic Plastic Fantastic. A channel which would later be deleted by YouTube, though pretty much every video on it has been re-uploaded. On YouTube, one of these videos gained significantly more notoriety than the rest, that being the video Hand Thing, where one of Eric's friends, presumably, walks into Shane's house with this creepy mask very similar to Shane's on, and is like, "Hey Shane, you still doing the hand thing?" And Shane starts flicking these like two mannequin hands against each other while going like and it's a lot of people found it really uncanny, like forever ago. But some people found it actually kind of funny just because of the absurdity of it. And now that a lot of the people that originally watched it have grown older, most of those people also feel like it's more, at least judging by the comment section, most of those people also feel like it's more funny now. But either way, that video Hand Thing became the most popular video on Shane's channel and is what led many people to discovering Shane in the first place. Sadly, Eric Fournier would pass away at age 42 on February 25th, 2010. Poppy. Poppy was a YouTuber notable for her very weird persona, which was like this sort of childlike robot, I was described as, one which many people consider to be rather uncanny. But she would make all these like seemingly random videos of things just like her saying her name a ton, or just saying, "Oh, look at the time, just repeating it. And she made a ton of uploads, usually very short videos. And at the center of her channel were these like music videos, and the whole character of Poppy was essentially like a parody and like satire of like celebrity culture and like how people like idolize celebrities in a sense. And like pretty much she was pretty much like everywhere all over YouTube for a good couple months. However, eventually the character of Poppy would be destroyed at some point, as what happened was basically the guy who was managing Poppy, this guy named Titanic Sinclair, he had worked with another woman prior to this who went by the stage name Mars Argo. Poppy is also a stage name, by the way. But Mars Argo had a very similar like persona to Poppy, and so she sued him. And this just kind of started like unraveling the whole like situation with Poppy, because people started to realize after this that Titanic Sinclair was kind of an abusive and manipulative piece of shit. And eventually him and Poppy parted ways with each other. And though Poppy still produces music under the name Poppy on YouTube, her entire brand and style is completely changed from the original creator, the original Poppy.
and she now has more of like this indie, just like, indie kind of metal artist aesthetic instead. But yeah, her content now is just completely different from like the old Poppy that everyone like knows, the old Poppy that everyone remembers. I'm not saying that like no one knows or cares about the new Poppy, but like the old Poppy was what most people know her from. Llamas with Hats. This is a 12-part animated series created by the YouTuber Film Cow. It stars two llamas named Paul and Carl, who, you guessed it, wear hats. Carl is an extremely violent psychopath who just constantly just unalives people pretty much every episode, or just does something really twisted and dark and, related to unalivement. And then Paul is like, Carl, and he calls him out for it, and then Carl just tries to make a bunch of excuses. And yeah, they basically use this formula to tell a bunch of dark jokes. And I have no doubt that there were definitely really young children that watched that a long time ago and probably got traumatized by it. But the series does start to take up more of a plot around halfway through, when like Paul finally gets sick of Carl's shit and leaves, and then Carl starts basically going insane without him, more insane than he already was. And the series ultimately ends with Carl unaliving himself. Object shows. In the early 2010s, a YouTube channel run by two brothers, which was named Jack and Jellyfy, created a series called The Battle for Dream Island, which was this comedic, total drama-esque game show series. And all the characters in it were like these, small objects, but anthropomorphized with faces and limbs. And little did they know it, but this kickstarted an entire genre of YouTube videos, which all followed this total drama-esque comedic game show format, and with all the characters, being small objects. The original Battle for Dream Island series ended, but a remake of it, or I guess sequel. I'm not caught up on the Battle for Dream Island lore, but like a successor to it still exists. Was created a few years ago and is still running to this day. Dining Room or There Is Nothing. This is a horror video which displays this creepy, pale woman in a dining room, seated at a table with a white dining cloth and a fire behind her. She mutters something in reverse as the camera zooms out from her, and then the video plays in reverse, showing that what she was saying was, "There is nothing." A lot of people misinterpret like what this video is about, as they say that the fires represent hell, the white tablecloth represents heaven, and the woman represents death. As she falls over, she gets unalived, and then when she comes back, she's basically telling us there is nothing, there is no afterlife. However, this is not entirely accurate to what the video actually represents. While they're right about the symbolism, what the video is truly about is it's the projection of the idea that you can't really prove that there isn't an afterlife or not, because in order to do so, you need to come back from unalivement. And as we see the woman do. But if you come back, then, that kind of proves that there have to be something that, well, not necessarily proving, that would mean that there have to be some sort of way that you could come back, or something that you'd come back from. So it's paradoxical in nature. And honestly, it's kind of sad that this video is the most popular video on the YouTuber that uploaded it in his channel. He's like an art student, by the way, if you couldn't tell. But there's another video on his channel called a deleted scene from a movie that doesn't exist, which is a lot creepier and a lot more interesting. I don't know, I feel like that one should have gotten popular instead of Dining Room or There's Nothing. Anyway. The Coconut Song. This is another like early viral YouTube video, which is, it's a song about coconuts, and it's like a goofy song about coconuts and what you can do with them. And whoever made the video basically just took the song and they created a music video over it, which is just, I use the term music video loosely because it's basically them like pasting a bunch of different like stock images that match up with the lyrics of the song and editing them in a humorous way. 5-star rating system. Before YouTube added its like and dislike system that it has today, it had a system where you could rate videos from 1 to 5 stars. However, this system was really bad because, most people are just going to rate a video 5 stars or 1 star, and barely anyone is going to use ratings in between that. And so because of this, YouTube simplified the system down to a simple like or dislike in 2010. Diabetes. So there's this guy named Wilford Brimley who made this presentation in collaboration with this Liberty Health thing, and it was it was on his diabetes and him living with it, but he pronounces diabetes, and because of that, the video became really popular, and people started making YouTube poops of it and using it in memes and stuff like that. Groups. Groups is a removed feature that allowed you to basically group videos, playlists, and channels together and then analyze the data of them. I think, I don't know, it's kind of hard. I can't find that much information about them because the term groups is just really hard to search for. From what I can gather, I think it's just a way of grouping together various different things about your channel or channels and then compare the data on them. Mariana Mortegard Glesgorv. So this is a short creepypasta, which basically says that if you search the previously mentioned phrase on YouTube, you're probably going to get nothing, but there's a very rare chance that you'll get this 20-second long video, which displays this man staring at the camera creepily, surrounded in this ominous bright red lit room that makes it look demonic. And then for the last 2 seconds of the video, the camera zooms in on him and he makes a demonic grin. And apparently this is a segment from a full 2-minute long video, which is cursed and curses whoever watches it to make bad things happen to them. And when it initially was uploaded to YouTube, 50 people all carved their eyeballs out and mailed them to YouTube. And YouTube doesn't want an incident like this happening, and so they've tried their absolute best to stop the video from reaching anyone, and then will periodically allow you to watch only the first 20 seconds to quell any suspicions around it. Needless to say, this creepypasta is very obviously fake, but that didn't stop people from trying to create videos to try and prove that it's real. And someone they took basically some random Indian market manager guy, and then they crappily edited an image of him looking at the camera to make it resemble the video. Although weirdly, they made the video 2 minutes long, but only made him smile, but made it just the same thing as described in the creepypasta, except instead of smiling 20 seconds in, he only smiles in the last 2 seconds. And also there's ominous music in the background. So it kind of goes against the creepypasta there, and because nothing is different from the 20-second clip that was, apparently created to quell suspicions, but whatever. Girls see ghost and run. This is another classic YouTube quote-unquote horror video where there's this mother that's just filming her daughter and presumably her daughter's friend, who are both little 4 to 6 year old girls, and they're just playing around, and then all of a sudden one of them just starts pointing at this darkened hallway near them and screaming, and she quickly runs to the mother as the other kid starts mocking her and making noises to spook her, but then she turns around and also looks at the hallway, and she also screams and then runs to her mother. And this video became known as a horror video because a bunch of people were like, oh, what, did they actually see a ghost? Is this a real ghost sighting? Especially since some people believe that kids see ghosts or whatever. But the video is most likely just intended to be a comedy video, because if you look at the description of the video, it describes what happens in it as funny, and the video is listed in its category as comedy. And a mother pulling a prank, a mother filming her kids just out of nowhere and then just happening to capture a moment where they're both screaming at something seems a little bit too weird to be just a coincidence. But a woman pulling out her camera to film her children as she's pranking them seems a little bit more likely. So yeah, it's most likely that this video is just a prank and nothing more. YouTube Red. This is the original version of YouTube Premium, and the two of them are pretty much the same thing, except for the fact that YouTube Premium comes with a YouTube Music Premium subscription as well, while YouTube Red does not. The Vine Invasion. This refers to an event which took place after the social media platform Vine was deleted. And a bunch of content creators who had gotten famous on Vine and had their fan bases on Vine had to migrate to YouTube as their primary social media platform. And with them, they brought their fans and their algorithmic knowledge, and started kind of in a sense taking over YouTube and invading it with all these people that were not as or were significantly less involved in the YouTube community than people who didn't use Vine, and it became known as the invasion. Vwen is a YouTube animator who has this distinct animation style that it's sort of kind of low quality, but not in a bad way, and it's very liney and colorful, and I would best describe it as it reminds me of a children's book kind of. Her animations absolutely do not. Her animations often deal with very dark subject matter. Some of her shorter and lighter videos are just things like people being bored with their jobs, or people struggling to fit into society, commentary about those kind of things. And then you get to her later more her later and longer videos, which are just about about how society glorifies violence, or about how or her animation Twins in Paradise, which is one of the longest ones on her channel, which is about these two twins whose mother gets unalived, and one of them just starts working super hard as this celebrity that's constantly just working extra hard to achieve her goals and overworking herself, and is being constantly hyper focused on and sexualized by the media, and the other daughter is taking drugs to prevent it. And there's Dead End, which is this kid that's arguing with this counselor in high school about the counselor constantly saying he's going to get in trouble for his bad behavior, except the counselor himself is stuck in his life and is addicted to gambling and stuff, and the kid is actually the one that's able to escape at the end. Yeah, they're very they're very dark. Some of them are kind of existential, and I would not recommend. I would recommend watching them, but I would not recommend watching them all in one sitting. That was a very bad idea. Why do I do this to myself? She's also worked as an official animator on this one Netflix show called We the People, where she animated this music video about taxes, which I gotta say, I only found out about that after the rest of her watching through the rest of her channel. So after watching all of these really disturbing animations, learning about watching a video teaching about taxes was a very refreshing. Noah takes a photo of himself every day for 6 years. The title of this video is pretty self-explanatory. It's a pretty important video, as not only was it really popular, but it also created several more videos like this, with people doing the same thing, but for even longer periods of time. One of them doing it for 10 years. And, because, it's just interesting to see people aging over the course of a couple minutes. And, one of these also got used as a meme format to make fun of long things. Will It Blend? Will It Blend is a YouTube channel created by Blend Tech to promote their blenders. Every video basically features the man just blending some miscellaneous object and seeing if it will blend. And these miscellaneous objects are obviously things that a blender wouldn't normally blend, like iPhones or the Amazon Echo. And a lot of them are also brand deals with other products that one would cross promote. The channel's been was going on for since the dawn of YouTube, pretty much since 2006, but they stopped uploading 2 years ago. Local 58. Local 58 is a horror channel created by Chris Starub, which popularized the genre of analog horror on YouTube. And for those who don't know, analog horror is where you take something that looks like it was from a TV, an analog TV specifically, and then you edit spooky stuff onto it. The channel's first video was uploaded 5 years ago. You're on the fastest available route, which shows a man driving in a car at night, being guided by a voice GPS. However, as the video progresses, the voice GPS keeps telling him to go off-road and into the forest, and eventually at the end of the video, his car crashes, and then you see this spooky alien-looking thing. The next video was Contingency, which shows an ordinary broadcast on Local 58 being interrupted by this essentially this PSA that's basically saying that some foreign invader has taken over America and all Americans should commit self-game and unalive their children to prevent the invaders from taking them. Only for at the end of the video it to say, "Oh yeah, sorry, that was just a mistake. We didn't actually mean to air that." Then the next video, Weather Service, displays what appears to be two people fighting for control over the program. One person basically saying, "Please look at the moon," and the other person saying, "Please don't look at the moon." Then they made Station ID, which is basically just a channel trailer and nothing more. It's only 19 seconds long. Then Show for Children, which displays a cartoon of this skeleton walking throughout a graveyard, encountering a bunch of spooky stuff in graves, and eventually resting in a grave where he then looks at the moon and then turns into a real corpse. Then a realistic corpse. Then they made a Look Back, which shows a bunch of mishmashed footage of other videos on the channel, and at the very end ends with ominous messages saying that there will be more to come. Then they made the video Real Sleep, which is supposedly this tutorial on how to sleep better, and it spreads a bunch of misinformation about dreams being unhealthy for the human mind, and then has you do this thing where you have to look at the center of the screen while there's these faces flashing by the sides to make you sleep better. However, in reality, this thing where you look at the center of the screen and there are faces flashing on the sides is actually a real experiment that messes with people's perceptions of faces. Then they upload the video Sky Watching, where some guy basically just points the camera at the moon and it labels it his throne. You can see this veiny structure on it, and then he sort of starts worshiping it. And after that, Local 58 took a long hiatus, though it did around I think a couple years ago. After Skywatching, Local 58 went on hiatus, and they came back recently, only a year ago, with a new video, Digital Transition, which shows the Local 58 is going to transition from an analog television station to a digital one, and again has more ominous messages filling it. However, the series didn't actually end properly, as what happened was instead an ARG had happened during its hiatus, and the video Digital Transition was actually basically just letting people who didn't know about who liked the channel but didn't know about the ARG. It was essentially just letting them know that the ARG existed. There are many different theories about what Local 58 is about, but the two main ones are that it's either aliens who live on the moon or around the moon and are mad about humans intercepting with their domain by landing on the moon and sending signals through it, and so are trying to hijack all of humanity's televisions to attempt to destroy humanity. And the other theory is basically the same thing, but instead of aliens that live in and around the moon, it literally is the moon in and of itself. And there's also theories that it's an environmentalist message, and the moon is like mad, and the moon or the aliens around the moon are mad that humanity is destroying itself and the earth that it's been granted, and so are trying to like exterminate humanity to save the earth. Janet Jackson Super Bowl incident video. During the 2004 Super Bowl, Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake performed during the halftime show, and at the end of the performance, Justin Timberlake was supposed to grab onto Janet's clothing and rip part of it off, which would leave her bra exposed, but it wasn't supposed to like actually take the bra off. However, he accidentally did take the bra off, and thankfully she had like a golden, like some thingy, I don't know what it's called, like covering her nipple, so she wasn't fully exposed, but she was exposed enough that a lot of people were really upset, and it almost ruined her career, even though it was mostly Justin's fault. But she was the one that got exposed, so her career was the one that was in jeopardy, and a lot of people blamed her and said that like she had planned the incident, which was not true. After the event was obviously recorded, and afterwards it was uploaded to YouTube. COD Black Ops PS. This was an official bot account run by YouTube, which was designed to grab random couple-second long clips of people playing Call of Duty on Black Ops on the PS3 and then upload them to YouTube. Because it was bot ran, it was able to upload tons of videos, and it became one of the first and only channel. It became the first and one of the only channels to achieve 1 million videos uploaded to YouTube in 2013. Then they stopped uploading videos in 2015. However, they remained the YouTube channel with the most videos uploaded for quite a while, up until recently when they were overtaken by Roel van de Par, who's a YouTube staff employee that like uploads videos about like how to help with YouTube video creation and stuff like that, and using YouTube software. He's able to upload extremely quickly, and has achieved 2 million videos, double that of COD Black Ops PS. Around like a year or so ago, COD Black Ops PS was completely deleted along with every video it uploaded because of copyright infringement. Nobody Here / Sunset Corp. Nobody Here is a video uploaded in 2009 which displays footage from the arcade game Laser Grand Prix. This game is very trippy as it shows this rainbow road as you'd expect to see in an arcade game, but it's pasted over realistic footage, specifically a city in this video. This footage plays over the song Nobody Here, which was created by the uploader and is sampled from the song The Lady in Red, except it's heavily slowed down, much more echoey, and continually repeats that segment of the song that says Nobody Here. This video is uploaded by the YouTube channel Sunset Corp, and it was the second upload of said channel, which has uploaded 6 other videos: Angel, Computer Vision, Dimmerol, Time Stand Still, End of Life Entertainment Scenario Number 1, and White Car No Better. All of these videos are very similar to Nobody Here, all featuring footage which was taken from some form of late 80s, early 90s media. Like, for example, End of Life Entertainment Scenario Number 1 features footage from the game Manhunter, or Angel contains footage of what appears to be multiple different commercials all mashed together. And the music in all these videos, again, is echo jams, which is the music genre that Nobody Here fits under, and are produced in a similar manner with like slowed echoey samples of various different songs, again from the late 80s and early 90s, but with certain parts of those songs being played over and over and over. This channel, and more specifically Nobody Here, which is the most popular video on the channel, effectively created the entire music genre, or rather, created the first songs in the music genre of echo jams, a music genre that would later go on to inspire and evolve into vaporwave. And so effectively, Sunset Corp is the creator of vaporwave in some sense. The Glitch. The Glitch is a video uploaded by Corridor, which is a YouTube channel made and owned by a bunch of CGI artists. The video is basically a comedy sketch showing what would happen if glitches existed in real life, and the editing on this video is really good and extremely impressive for a video uploaded in 2012. The main reason this is on the iceberg, though, is because partway through the video, Mario starts glitching into the ground, and his face then just turns into this weird CGI, like, abomination that's just like melting away and flying around. And the image of Mario's melting face was also used in the thumbnail of the video, and because of that, a lot of kids ended up having nightmares from it. Also, side note, I like that the how incredibly high the budget must have been for the CGI, at least for the time. And then you compare that to how bad the Minecraft costume is. Nyan Cat. Nyan Cat is a 3-minute long video, which shows this cat that has a Pop-Tart body and is riding on like a rainbow, flying through space in pixel art. And it has this like, music behind it that has like cat meows in it. And it just got really popular, and it was pretty much all over the internet in the early 2010s. And now they made NFTs off of it, because nothing is sacred. End of the World. This is a YouTube video created by Albino Black Sheep, which was originally a sort of joke he had between him and his friends that they used as a way of like coping with like the fear of the world ending and like making light out of it. And then he made like a big script out of that joke and turned it into a YouTube video and made an animation for it. And it became really popular because of how funny it was. And then around 10 years later, he made a sequel to it in 2018, with the sequel focusing less on being comedic and more on having an actual political message about, trying to stop the world from ending. Obey the Walrus / Obedience a la Morsa. So before I talk about this one, I want to get this out of the way that Obedience a la Morsa is the original upload of this video, and Obey the Walrus is a re-upload, one which everyone knows it from. And obviously Obey the Walrus is Obedience a la Morsa in English. Now with that out of the way, now I'm actually going to talk about it. So the description of the video claims it was created by a Latin American cult called La Morsa, and that if you watch the video, bad things will happen to you, both of which are obviously just lies. As for what the actual video contains, it shows Andros from Star Fox 64 singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider in Spanish, which is taken from like a Barney episode. Then the song speeds up a bunch and the footage cuts to this weird psychedelic visual, and then it cuts to the goddess bunny dancing around, and I'll get to who the goddess bunny is in a second, while the music in the background now plays in reverse at normal speed and much louder. And then the video the music dies down as the video ends, and the footage shows the goddess bunny walking up to the camera and staring at it before it then shows an image of a walrus. So as for who the goddess bunny is, she is a transgender drag queen who is diagnosed with polio at a very young age. And it's because of the polio that like she looks she looks fairly uncanny to some people, and whoever made the video found that and thought that they could use that and like use music to make it look disturbing and effectively make fun of her in the process. And they did that, and it was super disrespectful. And in recent years, people have stopped kind of viewing Obey the Walrus as much of a horror video and more of just a disrespectful joke, which, yeah, it is. Seinfeldspitstain. This is a YouTuber who animates using GoAnimate and, more commonly, some 3D animation software. And his animations are often very uncanny and oftentimes disturbing as well. He's most well known for the video Jimmy Neutron Family Happy Hour, a video based off of a dream he had and obviously based off of Jimmy Neutron, where Jimmy's dad, Hugh, unalives Jimmy's mother and then forces Jimmy to quote-unquote bond with him, and then they order some pizza, which gets aggressive and starts attacking them. This video is easily his most popular, having 18 million views, which easily topples every single other video on his channel. However, he stopped uploading fairly shortly after creating this video because of how popular it was, as it was the only thing people really knew him for. And so he created this final video called Creation, which shows several of the videos he's made all getting destroyed by like this flying screwdriver, and all of them being animated by this person who's seemingly a representation of himself, and the person unaliving himself at the end of the video, which I don't want to like say for sure. I don't think this is an actual self-gaming note from Seinfeldspitstain, but I think it is him saying like he's going to quit this channel because he he's going to quit this channel because people only know him for Jimmy Neutron Family Happy Hour and don't care about anything else he's made. Scout face. This refers to a face made by Scout in the TF2 animation Heavy and Scout Think They Are Birds. A YouTube user named Angel Project 667 commented under another video titled "My Brand Scout is Dead," and this prompted several other YouTube channels to start changing their names, changing their profile pictures to the Scout face, something which previously people weren't able to do, as this was right after YouTube had allowed profile pictures to exist. Footage of a man who spent 41 hours trapped in an elevator. The title of this video is pretty self-explanatory, but there was a man who went into the McGraw-Hill building, and he went on an elevator, and it got shut down, and it took 41 hours for him to be rescued from it. The New Yorker took the security footage of him while he was in the elevator, and they sped the footage up so that it took only 3 minutes, and then they uploaded it to YouTube in 2008. And for the final entry of the first part of the third tier of this iceberg, we have Hacked by OurMine. OurMine is a hacker group which provides cybersecurity services, ironically enough, and has hacked multiple celebrities and brand accounts for the purposes of promoting this. And they've hacked multiple big YouTubers, and in 2016 and 2017 just went on a spree where they just hacked as many channels as they could, pretty much. Alright, so that's it for the first part of the third tier. Third tier is probably the longest tier on the iceberg, just in terms of how many entries it has, so it'll take another 2 parts to get to, but that's it for this part, so bye.